What's up, my YouTube people here? Good to see you guys. So, it is 11 a.m. my time, which is Eastern Daylight Time or Eastern Standard Time, whatever you call it. I don't know what time it is where you're at. I know some of you are here in the US with me, but I know we've got people everywhere here, so which is really cool. And I don't want to say this isn't going to be an exciting live YouTube live here, because we'll make it exciting, but I really just wanted you guys to help me change strings. What's up, Black Sabbath from Germany? Dude, good to see you from Germany, man. Man, that is one place that I really want to go visit one day. I've never visited Germany, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was even telling my wife this the other day. It's like, man, one of my dreams, one of my recent life dreams is to be able to play on any stage at the Wacken open air in Germany. I'd love to play, if it's as a solo artist, if I had to hire a band to play my music with me, or if I play in another band that I create, which I've got something kind of in the works for that, or if I just play as a hired gun for some other band. I just want to be on stage at the Wacken open air. That will happen, and well, it's got to happen sooner than later because I'm getting older, so I will make that happen though. But anyway, I just wanted to say that little note about Germany, because man, there's just so much good metal that comes from over there, and the metal fans are just like, wow, just crazy cool. But you know what, metal fans everywhere crazy cool. So 01, what's up, dude? Yeah, you're Eastern time as well, man. 11 a.m. I'm drinking coffee this morning instead of beer, because you kind of got those little rules you stick by. And today's Saturday, which is definitely a beer day for me, but I'm like, well, let me just wait until noon. I'll drink coffee, until noon, and I'll switch to beer. I hear water running in the other room there. I think our little Dachshund, which we have a German dog, he's a little Doxy, Piebald Dachshund, he's getting a bath right now. All right, guys, so let's change the strings. And while I'm changing strings, I'll just give you guys some updates here too on the channel. And of course, please ask me any questions. I kind of want to just come on here and just kind of hang out, have some coffee with you guys, and just answer any questions you have about what's going on with, my music, the channel, maybe with your music, any questions that you have. I've put out quite a bit of tutorials lately, especially on vocals. I've put out a couple new vocal tutorials on death metal, and it's something I was really nervous about putting out there because there's so many great vocalists out there. And sometimes, sometimes we see other people doing great things, and it's like we might not feel like we're worthy of even talking about it, but I challenge all of you never to feel that way. Always, always know that you have something special to give to the world. You know what I mean? So you have something authentic and special. So Francis, what's up? Gene, what's up from Denver? Dude, Denver, Colorado. Colorado's a beautiful place. I've never been. I want to go at some point in my life, but dude, I've never been there before, and I know it's beautiful out there. Jeff from Colorado Springs. We got two people from Colorado here. That's awesome. I bet it's beautiful there right now, because I'm in Florida. It is hot as balls here, dude. Like, it is. I think yesterday was like the hottest and most humid day we've had. So while we're chatting away, I'm gonna start getting some new strings on here. But I bet Colorado's, because it's earlier there right now, and I think you guys are 3 hours behind us, so I suck at math. So what would that be? 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it'd be 8 o'clock in the morning your time. Grow Big, what's up, dude? Yeah, so guys, this is the Takamine. It's the Takamine G series. I don't know what it is beyond that. G series something, I have no clue. I bought this from a good friend of mine a while back, though, many years ago actually. And another good friend, Brian, my buddy Brian with the Southern Creek Band, you guys probably remember him. He gave me this thing here to put on the whole of the acoustic there. And that's just, it's meant to help keep the guitar from having feedback if you're playing live, which is cool. But it also just kind of brings out the tone a little bit. Now, my strings are dead right now. Talking about death metal, I could play death metal on acoustic because the strings are dead. Listen to this, man. I mean, you guys probably can't tell on the camera here because, I mean, I'm sure the sound sounds okay, but just in the room here, I'm like, holy crap, these strings are super dead. Now, I will say this, guys, and we're about to go through the process of changing the strings, but I did recently buy these locking tuners for this thing. And man, I swear, if I were like a salesman, I would sell the crap out of these things because I believe in these things so freaking much. These locking tuners are just freaking awesome. Nos Apocalyptic Dreams on CD. Yeah, you know what, dude? I think I will have a physical CD for that. The only CD I had made of my albums was my most recent album, Masterpiece. You guys know that's on CD. So that's the only one I have out there right now. But I do plan to put more of my albums on CD, and actually all my future albums you guys can count on having a CD. This next album I'm working on right now, which I'll talk to you guys a little bit about here in a second, that one I'm actually planning on having vinyl available. Uh-oh, that just snapped. Oh, that sucks. And I know vinyl's not really, I know some people still buy vinyl, but some people don't. And I think that probably most people don't. I'm trying to make sure I didn't screw anything up just now because this string just popped out when I loosened the little thing here. Because like I said, these tuners, man, these tuners are awesome. But yeah, I like CDs too. I like CDs too, Nos. They're, and by the way, you guys know I have CDs. This right here, that's the Masterpiece CD I have. And you guys can actually go to my website. If you go to jasonstallworth.com shop, I mean, especially you guys in the US there, I don't know how many of you have this, and I'm just going to throw in the link real quick, guys. And this goes straight to my shop where you can pick it up. If you'd like to pick up a CD, if you buy it now, it will go out on Monday because my post office is closed right now. Let me make sure this is the right link. So the link I just put out there, okay, cool. So that link I just put out there, that goes to my latest CD, Masterpiece. The funny thing is, Apocalyptic Dreams, I did get one CD made for this album. Actually, I got 2 CDs made because they screwed up the first one. I always do a test run first, no matter what company I go through for CDs, because, man, they're bound to screw something up. So I'll order like 1 CD from the company to make sure it's right, and then I'll order the whole bulk. But yeah, this is it. I released that album in 2013, so I don't have this right now. This is the only CD I have, but I'm gonna put these in production here. But again, the link I just put out there, guys, you can get this CD. So yeah, that will be awesome if you guys want to order that. I've got plenty left, and when I run out, I can always order more. But yeah, I'm a big CD fan too. I've got quite a few CDs I own. Man, my CDs got stolen though, like many, many years ago. This is probably like 20 years ago. I had a bunch of CDs just, from the old school days, and dude, they all got stolen. I was so disappointed because I had so much good material. I had a lot of old Metallica and old Megadeth and just stuff like that. I had a lot of old hair band CDs too, man. I mean, I had some stuff. I think I had some stuff like Warrant and Winger, and I was into that kind of stuff as well. But I like CDs. To be honest with you, I don't listen to CDs that much. I don't have a CD player in here, but I'm about to get a sound system put in my studio to where I can play CDs and cassette tapes, because I've got some old recordings I did that I might release later on. I'll have to redo them, that I did many, many years ago. What's up, new guys coming on? How often do I change strings for electric? Well, electric guitar, because I use elixirs, I'm just going to throw these strings on the ground. Don't let me forget these, man. I don't want to step on these things. I'm just going to put them on the floor right here. So here's the strings I use real quick. And I know people will be kind of coming and going here, but for my acoustic, these are the elixir strings I use for my acoustic. These are 12 to 53, and they're considered light. Which 12 is not light, but for an acoustic it is. So these are the elixirs, and they're the nano web. Okay, so that's the nano web strings. For my electric, I use the Elixir's nano web, but 9 through 46. And these are the light strings as well. They're not the extra light, because they do an extra light. Wait, what did I get here, guys? You know what? I just realized something. I normally get 10s for electric, but I just realized that I got 9s. So, man, I'm gonna have to set the intonation up. But that's okay. I've actually wanted to do the 9s. I haven't played 9s in a long time. I haven't had 9s on my guitars in a long time. And one of my buddies came over and I was playing his guitar and he had 9s. I'm like, dude, this thing plays so awesome. So I got this by mistake. I just ordered these off Amazon. But I meant to order the 10s because that's what's on my 6-string ESP guitars now. Now for 7-string, let me show you guys this because you guys know I have the 7-string as well. I also have the nano web elixirs, but these are the 10 through 56 because you've got that B string. And these are lights. These are not extra lights. So are they medium or lights? I get confused. Okay, these are lights. So that's the 7-string. And back to the 6-string real quick. So let me rephrase. I said these are light. These are actually called custom light. And what that means is they keep the 46 a little bit, that E string a little heavier, but the little E string, they put at a 9. So this is great for having some of those, those heavier rhythms, but then you want that flexibility for your lead. So I'm actually excited to put these on. I'm not changing my electric strings today because, again, I have 10s on there now, and now I'm going to 9s. So my intonation is going to be all screwed up. I'm going to have to set that up. I'll probably do that for another video because I'll probably have you guys help me, like literally help me do that. I do not like changing strings on electrics because I have Floyds. I have floating tremolos, and it's such a pain. MS, this is the G series, man. This Takamine is the G series. I don't know what it is beyond that, but I just know it's a G series. Liam, what's up, dude? I haven't talked to you in a while. I know we haven't done Chops and Hops. I used to have a Chops and Hops I would host every Thursday night on here, and I've just been really busy. I haven't had time to do that. But Lunar, to answer your question, I normally change my strings on my electrics probably every 3 or 4 months, guys, because those elixirs, I could be a sales rep for Elixir. Maybe I need to call them up because I love their strings so much, and I've been using them for years. And there's been like probably 2 or 3 times I've switched to something else, and I literally went right back to the elixirs on both my acoustic and electric. So I just said, screw it. I'm not even going to try anything else. I'm just going to use what is good for me. I know some people don't like the tone that elixirs give them, and some people don't even like the feel. I like both, though, so that's just my opinion. But I'll probably always be an Elixir fan or an Elixir user. Please don't let me forget that I put these strings on the ground, because I do not want to step on these guys. I've done that before, and that sucks, man. So we're taking all the strings off this thing now. Yeah, Gene, that heavy bottom string is a 46, and I know that's not super heavy, dude, but it's, it's heavier than what it would be if it were the extra light, which I think it would be like a 42 or something like that. And I don't really need that heavy of strings anyway. I've got kind of a light touch when I play, which is kind of strange, but that's just the way it works out. Shri, how long have I been learning music? I've been playing guitar since about late 1989. So like I said, I suck at math. You have to figure out how long ago that was. But yeah, what are we in now? 2020. So yeah, I mean, really, what, 30 years or whatever that is? Is that right? 1992, yeah. Yeah, 30 years. Man, that's a long time. Crap, dude. Now, my acoustic, I have to change strings on my acoustic about a little more frequently, because I keep this guitar downstairs by our patio, and I play outside sometimes. And the humidity in Florida here is so bad that it just, your strings are just going to wear off. They're going to wear down a lot faster. you know, being out in the elements. My electric guitars really, because I'm not playing out anywhere right now, so they rarely do they leave the house. You know, they've got my electric guitars have the good life. They just hang out in here in the studio and get recorded that way. You know, so. But I can't wait to play out live again, guys. I really want to get out there in 2021 and play some live gigs. Like I said, whether it's a solo act, which I'll have to hire musicians to do that, you know, because like I said, I'm a solo artist, man. So I'd have to I'd have to probably hire a bass player, a drummer, and a second guitar player, because since I sing and play guitar, I really need that second guitar player, another rhythm player, and that player could even play some of my leads if they wanted to. I don't care, but I really need that second guitar player to kind of just back me up and cover my mistakes, because singing, I'll tell you, man, singing and playing guitar at the same time, it's no joke. It's not easy. It's and I'm not saying I'm the best at it. I'm not, because I screw up a lot, but I have such admiration for guys like Dave Mustaine and James Hetfield that can play, you know, these complex rhythms, man, and then sing at the same time. Now, the caveat to that, I'll tell you though, the caveat to that is when you're singing and playing songs that you wrote, it's much easier because you're writing the song. You know what I mean? You're writing the song. I need to wipe this down. You're writing the song and you're kind of writing it that, you know, that caters to your writing style. So, like Dave Mustaine writing something like Peace Sells or Hangar 18 and being able to sing that and play it at the same time, I think that's difficult for a lot of people. I think like Master of Puppets, try playing that and singing it at the same time. I think, or Blackened, try, you know, James Hetfield, man, he's a beast. Try playing Blackened off the Justice album, track 1, and singing that at the same time. That is tough, dude. But I don't think it's hard for those people, for Hetfield and Mustaine, because that's their song. They wrote the song. You know what I mean? So that kind of changes things. When you write the song, you write it in the way that's comfortable for you and makes sense for you to play and sing it. So just like my stuff, you know, the stuff I have on the Masterpiece album, I can sing and play most of that at the same time really well. Now, where I screwed up, because I'm a studio musician here, and it's just me, and I'm not playing live with a band, so I'm not really playing my songs. Where I screwed up, there's a couple parts in 2 of the songs that I wrote on my last album that I have a real hard time playing and singing at the same time. It's crazy, man. So I've got to go back and kind of work on that. And it's like, now the lesson I learned from that is, before I start actually recording the song, I need to make sure that I can play it and sing it at the same time, make sure it fits. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the thing. Gene, that's a good question, dude. I most of the time I will write the music first, like you're saying, and then put lyrics to it later, because the music always comes to me first. I mean, I get lyric ideas here and there, don't get me wrong, but you know, the music usually comes first, and I'll usually think of a riff and I'll record it. In fact, like the album I'm working on right now, it's called Overcometh, and I'm not going to release it. I was going to release it, you know, towards the end of this year, but man, there's just so much going on right now with the pandemic, and then in the U.S. we have a big election coming up, so I don't want my album to get buried underneath all that stuff going on. So I'm just going to wait until the beginning. I'll probably release it in January 2021, which is really not that far away if you think about it. But that was originally going to be an instrumental album. I was going to have Overcometh just be an instrumental album, but then I was sitting in my car one day listening to some of the tracks I've recorded, just making sure, you know, hey, you know, kind of analyzing it. And I started writing lyrics to one of the songs. I'm like, well, that idea is ruined, because now I've got lyrics, and I so there's probably going to be a couple of instrumental tracks. Well, there will indeed be at least 3 instrumental tracks on there, but then the other 7, 8 songs, probably 8, will have vocals to them. And I don't know, instrumental metal is kind of tough, man, because you've got, like, we love it, we all like instrumental metal, but it doesn't tend to do that well. You know what I mean? It just doesn't tend to go very far. And I think a part of that is because we want to hear lyrics. We want to hear what the song says. There's very few instrumental guitarists that can pull that off to where they make they actually replace the vocals with their guitar melodies, and that's Joe Satriani. I mean, he's got this magical way of doing that, you know. But most other instrument, and there's a lot of awesome instrumental guitarists out there. Like I know Andy James has some albums out, Jeff Loomis has some solo albums out, but they just don't get a lot of attention. And as an independent musician, and I know nobody likes to hear this, but as an independent musician, I do have to write music that also that people are gonna listen to and it sells, because you know I have bills to pay too. You know what I mean? So I've got to make sure I put stuff out there that you know that I like, is authentic, it's from the heart, but it's also got to be something that people are gonna listen to and really help promote as well. And I think lyrics, and it's not that the instrumental is bad, but when you have lyrics to songs, I think that people relate to what you're saying a lot more than just the music. You know, having just the music's great to listen to and all, but I think people relate more to what the song is saying to lyrics, you know. And I realized that when I put Masterpiece out last year. You know, I've got like Dragon's Flame, for example, the first track on the album. That song kind of talks about bullying, you know, and there's a lot of lines, cool lines in that song that are just kind of like this kid that's getting picked on, and he's powerless. But in the chorus of the song, you know, it says, "I find my solace in a place so far away. I'm not of this world." So he's pretending in his head that, hey, I'm from somewhere different, because he's kind of taking himself out of the picture. And he's saying, "I'll never fit your mold. I'll never try again. Consumed by the dragon's flame." And he's basically just saying to these bullies, to these people, it's like, I'm not like you. I'm not going to try to be like you. And I'm going to consume you with my dragon's flame. And it's kind of a song lashing out at someone that's bullying them. So I learned a lot through that process of putting lyrics to that, because I saw how the lyrics resonated with people, with others, with the listeners, and I'm like, wow, this is powerful, man. So, you know, so I'm definitely having another lyric album, but I will have some instrumental, because there's a couple tracks on there that they are instrumental tracks and they're meant to be that, and they wouldn't sound right with lyrics, you know, because it's an instrumental. So Francis, what's up, man? Besides being a musician, do you have normal day job? Or you're just a full-time musician or gym instructor? I had a corporate job, dude. I left my corporate job. I worked for a really big financial institution for the past 14 years, and I left it in January, the end of January. And I am a full-time musician, but I also do other things as well. So you asked if I'm a gym instructor, and it's funny you asked that. I own this website right here. I'll put it in the comments for you. I own a website called themuscleprogram.com, and that's kind of my fitness instructor site there. So let me just throw it in here so you guys can check it out if you want to. You don't have to. But that's so a combination of my music and, you know, what I earned from that website. I've got a couple of ebook programs, 12-week training programs out there, and they're good. They're awesome programs, because they're things that I've developed over the years of learning, you know, what I've learned, and getting stuff from other mentors, people that were cool enough in the gym to help me, you know. The thing about like the muscle building community, it's kind of like the metal community here. We're all willing to help each other out, and it's just like a really strong community. Like you and I, we can walk down the street or walk into a place, and you see somebody wearing a t-shirt with Arch Enemy or Megadeth or Monomarth or Nightwish or something like that, and you just have that immediate connection with them. And I think it's the same with the muscle. For the most part, it's not quite as strong in the muscle building community, but for the most part, if you see somebody else that you know you live, if you see some other guy or girl that looks like they're kind of jacked up or in shape, you have that immediate connection, you know. So it's really cool. And most of those people that train hard, you know, myself included, most of us people are more than willing to help others out. So Liam, what's up, dude? What age did I start shredding? So dude, I was 15. I was 15 years old when I started playing guitar. That was towards the end of 1989. within that first year of playing, towards the end of that first year of playing, I was I was starting to play fast guitar solos. It doesn't mean that I was like fluid in it. I wasn't like an expert by any means, but I was playing fast because I started like, I learned the scales. I only learned a few scales though. I My uncle bought me a chord book, Mel Bay chord book, just so I could learn the chords. And so I used that to learn the chords, and I learned a few scales, but I that was just kind of boring to me. I knew I had to learn the chords, so I did that, but I didn't go through learning the scales because playing the scale didn't sound like Kirk Hammett solos. You know what I mean? It didn't sound like Marty Friedman solos or Slashes. I was a big Guns N' Roses fan too. So I'm like, I wanted to go immediate into learning, what these other guys are doing that I liked. So I did. I jumped right into that. And the thing is, like, I did pick up guitar fast. Like, I really picked it up quickly. I was one of those kids that I was skinny. I got picked on a lot. I just started lifting weights around that time too, but I got picked on a lot and that sort of thing. And I wasn't really good at anything. My dad wanted me to play sports and kind of push me in that area, but I just sucked so bad at it. But when I found guitar, it was just like, you're home. This is it. This is what I want to do with my life. So I dedicated while other kids were out partying and drinking and stuff like that, and goofing off or whatever. I locked myself in my bedroom and I practiced guitar. I play guitar every day. I try to play every day now, but I really dedicated my younger years to playing guitar. I didn't, like I said, I didn't worry. I mean, I went outside and played, and I was doing BMX stuff, and of course, we had the old Nintendo and Sega and Atari way back in those days. But I'm from that first generation Nintendo generation of kids, and of course I played video games. But the majority of my time though was spent practicing guitar, playing guitar, and just I was so fascinated by it. I was just in an extreme way. So, Mehu, what's up, dude? So my favorite pickups for shredding, the only pickups I can tell you about right now is the EMG pickups. My 6 string guitar, you guys can see it back there, or is that my 7 string? That's my seven. Well, so my 7 string and 6 string ESP guitars, they both have EMG pickups. My 7 string ESP has the EMG 707s, and then my 6 string I've got an M1000 Deluxe. That guitar has the what is it? The EMG 81s or 83s. So they're two humbuckers. So I like that. But you know what? I've also got an Ibanez. Um, I've got an Ibanez RG 1570, and it's got the stock Ibanez pickups in that, the V8 and V7. I'm sorry, V7 and V8 pickups in S1. So I recently just ordered. I've got one sitting here right now. I've got this DiMarzio. Which one is this one? This is the DiMarzio Tone Zone pickup. So I've got that, and I've got the Air Norton pickup on order. They're on back order because of the pandemic. So that will be in, I think, later this month, and I'm going to have those changed out. So I'm really excited about that because the Ibanez stock pickups, the V7 and V8, and this is like the 2001 model RG 1570. You guys can kind of see it back over there, but that's the older model. And those pickups, they sound really good for clean tones, but man, they are just not hot at all. I mean, like I cannot get. It's really hard to get a proper metal tone out of that guitar. The funny thing is I used that guitar with those stock pickups to record the first heavy metal workout album with, and I got a pretty good tone for that. But for the stuff I play nowadays, because my music is a lot heavier these days, it's funny. As I've gotten older, my musical tastes have gotten heavier. I remember people telling me, it's like, well, you're not gonna like metal when you get older. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Just stop listening to metal and be like everybody else and listen to smooth jazz or pop radio? I'm like, no, it's not me. And it's funny. There's a lot of older metalheads because this style of music is more like it's almost like a cult. If you think about it, in a good way though, not in a bad way. You know what I mean? But this style of music it just draws you in. It just it's accepting. So what else did I miss on here? Tita, so you just bought a classical guitar and that's going to be a nightmare changing those strings. I've never changed nylon strings, dude, on the classical guitar. One of my uncles had a classical guitar, and I loved it, man. It's such a beautiful sound. I'm tightening this tuner back here. The locking, I'm not sure how tight it's supposed to be, though. I guess I'll find out if it worked or not later. This is my second time changing strings with this new tuner. All right, let me see how this is doing, guys. We gotta go up, don't we? I just realized something, man. When you turn this, thing a certain way, it actually cuts the string off. I hope I did that right, guys. Okay, I think we're good, man. That's weird. Alright, I just need to make sure. Okay, cool. One string down. And 5 more to go. Alright, so I want to catch up on some questions here, guys. Gabe the bassist, what kind of strings do you use for bass? So, dude, for bass, I think I've been using the GHS strings for bass, but I'm about to switch to elixirs. So, for those of you who just recently come on, because I know you'll probably ask what I'm using for my acoustic, I'm using these elixirs here, and this is the 1253. And I use elixirs for my electric guitars as well. I have not used them on bass yet. They're expensive for bass, but in my opinion, I think it's worth it because again, they last so long, and I like the tone. Now, I don't know if I'm going to like the tone for bass because I haven't tried it yet. But next, I need to change strings on my bass real soon because I'm getting ready to record the bass tracks, the final bass tracks for the album I'm working on right now. So I'm going to use those. And you use Dita Dario. I think I've used those as well. So, who knows? I might try that. All right, time for the A string. Yeah, dude, the Rosetta on this little thing right here, this cool. My friend gave that to me. Mill, I don't see more Duncan Blackouts. I've never played them, dude, so I couldn't really tell you. I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with a variety of pickups on electric guitars. I've played EMGs for the most part. The 6-string I've had it for so long that's just what I'm used to playing. However, back in the day, I played Jackson guitars. I primarily played. I had a couple of Jackson guitars that I played, and I don't remember. I think those, if I remember right, I think those were Duncan designed pickups that I had way. Again, this is super long time ago, man. This is like, I don't even know how long ago it was. It was a while ago, though. Okay, A strings here. All right. We got 2 strings on, guys. All you need is 2 strings. That's all we need, right? Two strings, we're good. Oh man, play some power chords on acoustic. Yeah. All right, this will start going by a little faster now. But yeah, as far as pickups, I've got these D'Addario. I've got these. I'm sorry, D'Addario. I've got these DiMarzio pickups. I wonder if they're associated back here that I'm putting on my Ibanez here in a few weeks. No, I don't. My pedal board is sitting on top of the amp. I don't actually have a pedal board, so that's something I need to get before I start playing out again. But my pedal board is so simple, guys. I have it's all connected, so I don't want to bring it over here. I've got an MXR noise gate, a smart gate that goes in front of the amp. I have an MXR overdrive pedal as well, but with that EVH amp, I don't need the overdrive. You know, a lot of metal players use the overdrive in front of their amp to kind of clean up the tone, to tighten it up. But that amp, the gain is just so powerful and so clean, if that makes sense. You don't need an overdrive pedal at all, man. It's awesome. It's amazing. I love that amp. I also have an MXR chorus pedal, an analog chorus pedal, and I like to use a little bit of chorus for clean tones. And then I've got a delay pedal, a Boss DD7 delay pedal, which I use that for primarily my leads. That's really it, dude. I don't do a lot of pedals because I'm kind of minimalist when it comes to that. I know a lot of guys like to have a gazillion pedals, but again, since I sing and play at the same time, I don't want to have to be, you know, concentrating on singing and then having to stomp a bunch of pedals at the same time on stage. Man, that's just like asking for trouble. In fact, I hung out with a good friend of mine, and he actually leads the band in a decent sized church, and they play more like contemporary rock style stuff. I shouldn't say rock, but more contemporary music, you know. And he's got the Helix. He's got the Line 6 Helix. So he was telling me how he can just press one pedal and everything he needs to changes it. Like you can be playing distortion with delay and chorus and switch just one click, switch from that to just nothing or just chorus or just like or whatever. So I'm like, man, I may I may look into investing in that because that just simplifies everything on stage, you know. So that's pretty cool. Gene, so you have a Helix. That's good to know, dude. Yeah. And Gene, let me know, dude, like I was trying to explain this to my buddy, trying to ask this question, but can you like place things, like for example, I want my noise gate, and if I do an overdrive, I want it in front of the amp. But all the other effects, I like to run through the effects loop. So I'm assuming you can do that with the Helix. So yeah, so that is cool, man. So I think I'm gonna get that. Maybe so you own the Helix as well. And I don't know that I'm looking so much for the amp modeling features. Not on stage, at least. You know, if I go back to playing, whenever I go back to playing live again, um, which I may, who knows, I may change my mind and use them. You never know. I like Line 6 though. I had an HD 500. I recorded Apocalyptic Dreams. I recorded with my HD 500. They have an amp called Angel F-Ball that's modeled after the Engel Fireball amp, and I thought I got some really good tones out of that amp model. So I really like what Line 6 has done. I think they're great, you know. I know their Spider amps get a lot of crap. I know Glenn Fricker on the Spectra Sound, he gives a lot of crap, you know, about the Spider amps, but those aren't made for professional use. They're practice amps, you know. So I mean, what do you expect? You know what I mean? But they're stuff like the HD 500 and the Helix. I mean, those are more for professional use. You know, what you guys have is professional. I mean, that's you can use it as a pro and get real good tones out of it. So anyway, I don't like when people bash equipment because I mean, if it sucks for you, that's one thing, but it doesn't mean it's going to suck for everyone else. You know, someone else might find good use out of it. That's just my personal taste on that. A little trick here. So I'm running strings through here, through the back here, as you can see, but the string kind of gets stuck in the bridge right here. So what I do is I just take another string, and you guys can't see it here, and I put it underneath to lift it up so that it can go under the bridge or over the bridge there. All right, we're good. We're getting somewhere on this, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, by the way, helping me change strings. This is cool. Yeah, James says fricker. I like his videos. They're entertaining, but I don't know some YouTube channels, and you guys will probably never see me do anything like that. Some YouTube channels just turn into entertainment, which is fine, but a lot of times they gain their popularity by bashing other people or other equipment or whatever, and it's just, I don't know, it's just, that's just what you just see so much of that already in the world. And I don't want to be, I don't want to build my brand off of that, off of being negative and bashing other people and putting others down and stuff like that. And I know a lot of times they're doing it, and I'm not picking on Glenn Fricker, but you know, he does a lot of that. And it's just, it's like, what's the point, you know? If you don't like something or someone else, it doesn't mean that they're any less than you. And you know, some of the gear that he knocks, who knows, somebody might be able to get a better tone out of that gear that he thinks is crap than what he gets. You just don't know. Some of the greatest albums were recorded with minimal gear. I'm not really a fan of Eric Clapton, but I have to respect him as a guitarist and songwriter because he's brilliant. But I remember reading about some of the gear he recorded his old stuff with, and some songs were recorded with a real cheap Fender amp. You know, it's just a piece of equipment that no one would ever think that you'd record a professional album with. But hey, if you know, if it sounds good and you like it, why, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I don't want to rant about that. You know, you know, like I say, Glenn has he's got some good tutorials, but I'm just not a big fan of when people start bashing other people and making fun of people and stuff like that. Just not my taste, man. I keep it about the music, you know. If that means my channel doesn't get as popular, I'm okay with that. You know, I can live with that. The biggest thing I want to give to you guys is just value, man. I want to, more so, I want to encourage you guys as well, as I'm trying to tune my guitar. There we go. All right, 2 more to go, guys. Now, speaking of encouragement, I don't know if you guys have caught my recent videos. I've been putting some motivational stuff out there on YouTube and my Facebook and Instagram as well. And that's just something I recently started doing because, I don't know, it's just, I felt like I needed to do that. The world's kind of in a, not the best place right now, as you guys know. And I think that if we're encouraged to do good things with our life, both musically and outside of that, then I think we together, we do, and not to sound cheesy, but we do make the world a better place by pushing forward, pushing ourselves to do better and be better people and that sort of thing. And on that note, no pun intended, we all go through things. We go through the same types of things. So I like to give you some things that I've learned along the way that helped me over the years, and it helps me now. And, you know, I'm not like a therapist or anything like that. I'm not even, I don't even consider myself a motivational speaker or anything. It's just, you know, I don't have to have a title, but I just like to share things that I've been through with you guys. Mistakes I've made, a lot of mistakes I've made, and things that have made me look at life a little bit differently, and it has helped. And I share that because I think it will help you guys as well. And that's really what it's all about. Dude, I cannot find the hole. These tuners are black, so, I mean, I've got the light on. There it is. Okay, cool. Got it. I'm trying to put this thing through here. I'm having trouble here. Okay, I see what I did wrong. There's only one way you can put. I just learned something new. These, I'll show you guys. These little tuners. There's only one way. There's only one hole you can push through here. There's only one side that you can press through. So it's kind of weird. I've never seen anything like this before. Let me see if I can get this to work now. All right, here we go. Okay. So let me catch up on the questions. Mill, you still got your HD 500X. I never got the X. I just had the other 500. I just gave my HD 500 away to someone. Something I said I'm going to do for a long time now. Okay, there we go. Sorry guys, I was having trouble with this one little string here, man. I'm like, dude, give me a hard time. Mill, some metal bands that are underrated, in my opinion. I always thought that Exodus was underrated. I never thought they got the attention they deserved. And, you know, I think Kirk Hammett was in that band to begin with, and of course when he went over to Metallica, and they just took off. But this isn't really a metal band. People, I guess, used to consider them metal, but they're not even really close to metal. They're more of a rock band. But I always thought King's X was the most underrated rock and roll band in the history of just music in general, because, man, Doug Pinnick, he's one of my favorite vocalists. If you've never heard King's X before, listen to their album called Dogman, and then just kind of go through their backlog after that, their earlier albums. They just have something very unique that they brought to the music world. I like to kind of tune this as I go. So that's one of the underrated bands that, you know, let's see. All right, we're getting somewhere, guys. But yeah, King's X, I think they were strongly underrated because they just have some amazing stuff. And Dogman is actually, I say Dogman because that's like one of their the heaviest albums. Gene, I wish I could have seen them live, dude. I have not been to that many live shows in my life, to be honest with you. So it's kind of sad. And I was going to see King's X this year. They were scheduled to come here. I live in Tampa, Florida. Well, really in Seffner, Florida. But they were coming to my area. And of course, this pandemic happened, man. This thing really threw a lot of people off, especially bands, you know, working bands. So I've been trying to support, you know, where I can. But I can't really think of any other underrated bands off the top of my head as far as metal goes. And I say that because metal's not a commercial genre. You know, so like as a metal band, you're not really expected to make it big on the radio. I mean, there are exceptions, like your bands like Metallica and Megadeth, of course. Those are some extreme exceptions. They've got commercial, you know, they got commercial recognition. But most metal bands just don't get that. You know, of course that's changing a little bit, man, because it used to be all about radio and MTV, and now it's not about that anymore. Now it's about what people are actually listening to on Spotify, excuse me, and iTunes, and those sort of places. So at the end of the day, I will tell you guys this from a business perspective. You have to have a good product, you have to have a good band, you have to be good and be good at what you do, but at the end of the day, it's really all about marketing. You could be the best singer, the best guitar player, and have the best band ever, and I know best is subjective, but you could have all those things, but if your music's not being marketed, or your product or whatever it is, if it's not being marketed to the right people and not being marketed appropriately, no one's ever going to know about it. So that's where bands struggle, and that's something that, you know, that's because I'm an independent artist. That's something that I had to do all my own marketing. So I mean, I'm kind of marketing to you guys right now. I mean, I put a link in here to buy my CD. You guys are talking to me, so I will ask that you go listen to my music, that sort of thing. In fact, if you go here, I always throw you guys links so I get the pick in my mouth. For those of you who have not heard this, this is my latest album. That's the link to my latest album, what I just put out there. That goes to Masterpiece. That takes you to my web page, which I built. I designed my own web page. I do my own graphics. I do all my stuff. Um, Actually, in fact, if you guys will all go to that page and just let me know if the layout's okay, you'll see a link to, or not a link, you'll see a Spotify player. So right when you go to that website that I just gave you, that link, you'll see the Spotify player for Masterpiece, my latest album. But then off to the side of that, you'll also see, if you're on like a laptop or computer, you'll also see the other buttons there right beside it to go listen to it on other sources. Now, if you're looking at it on your phone, of course, I don't want you to get off here right now to go do that. You can click on it later, but on your phone, you'll see the Spotify player, and you just keep scrolling a little further down. But those of you who are watching this on like a laptop or computer or something like that, just click on that link real quick. It should open in a new tab. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, dude. Yeah, so and I wanted to make sure it's clean. It's laid out clean, and easy to navigate. So, oh, all right. Let's tune this last string up here. But yeah, as far as let's see, I missed one question. Aaron, thank you, dude. Yeah, the mentality is keeping it positive, dude. Francis, since I've been mentioning guitar gear, what's my opinion on buying branded guitars and gear? Brand names better or buy average price guitars? Dude, that's a really good question, man. I was just talking about marketing. I was just talking about. I don't want to bore you guys with that stuff, but it's it's a side of it's a side that I have to stay on top of. Yes, Engine Wings of Destruction, man. That song. And sorry, I'll get back to the other question. And Engine just wrote Wings of Destruction. That's track number. Dude, I don't even know what track my own song is. That's track number 8 on the Masterpiece album here. Track number 8. That song, if you listen to the lyrics of Wings of Destruction, that song is all about what's going on in the world right now. And I wrote the song a long time ago, but it's all about, and I'm not going to get into the political stuff here, but I don't feel like the right or the left is the right way. I feel like that the true answers are kind of somewhere down the middle. And it talks about the corruption on both sides, but it talks about it in a subtle way. The chorus goes, truths will never know, just look the other way, and ashes were burning to the ground. Try to take control. They try to take control of our mind and soul. It's you that's going down. It's that kind of rhetoric. It's like, okay, you're trying to pull me to one side and the other side's trying to pull me over here. I don't agree with any of you. I agree with some of what you have, but not all of it. You know what I mean? And I think the truth is down the middle. But anyways, that's kind of from that perspective. And it goes back to historical times where you had one side that was dominating and you didn't have that balance. Think of the Holy Roman Empire. They were under just one dominating side and they didn't have a balance of power. So the Holy Roman Empire, Rome was destroyed. It took time for it to be destroyed, but it ultimately, dwindled. So, anyway, that's what the premise of that song is. But back to buying brand, I want to talk to you guys real quick about, because Francis, that's a really good question. Again, the question is, what's my opinion on buying branded guitars and branded gear as opposed to buying just average price brand guitars and gear? So here's the thing, I'll tell you this. I'm going to show you my 7-string guitar, and I'm going to share a quick story with you, and I'm going to tell you where I went wrong. And I'm going to tell you, if I had to do it over again, what would I do? What would I do differently? This guitar right here. It is the ESP E2 Horizon FR7. Now, It's a neck through. Excuse me. I got dry throat today. It's got the EMG pickups, the 707s. You know, it's got the Floyd, which I don't consider this a feature. I wish I could take it off. I'm not buying any more Floyd guitars. And it's got some Goto locking tuners on the back there. So it's equipped with everything I'd want to have in a 7-string guitar. It's got a really nice and brutal sound. It's a beautiful guitar. Now, this isn't necessarily, I don't know if you consider this a high-end guitar. I kind of do, because it was $2,000, 2,000 US dollars, which to me that's expensive for a guitar. Um, Here's where I went wrong. I was looking for a guitar that played comparable to my 6-string, which is, I'm not going to grab it because it's way over there, but I've got an ESP LTD M1000 Deluxe 6-string guitar. That guitar plays beautifully, just beautifully. Um, so I was looking for something that was comparable to that. So I ordered, and now there's a difference between ESP and LTD. They're made by the same company, but the LTD guitars I think are made just in a different place. They're a little bit cheaper or whatever. The ESP non-LTD guitars are, especially like the ones made in Japan and maybe some here in the US or whatever, supposed to be more premium. Uh, it's kind of like, Epiphone is to Gibson Les Paul, right? So what I did, and I actually have a video on this. I actually have a video review on this guitar. I purchased the LTD MH1007 Deluxe because I figured that would be comparable to my M1000, my 6-string. I get it. I get it in the mail. I do a video. The video, again, if you look at LTD MH1000 and just type that in and type my name in there, you'll see the videos. I did an unboxing and then I did a review on it like a week later. But when I got it, it had the Evertune. Instead of having the Floyd lock and any kind of floating tremolo, it had the Evertune on there, which is what I wanted. I didn't want a whammy bar. I didn't want all that stuff. So I bought it. I played it, and it just wasn't resonating with me. I don't know, I had a hard time bending the strings, and really what I needed to do is just get it properly set up, right? But I didn't do that. I'm like, well, I kind of miss the Floyd, and in my mind, I was thinking that the ESP, this guitar here, would be just such a better guitar. So I sent that back to Sweetwater. I worked with my rep. Of course, I had to eat the shipping costs, and I bought this one. Now, one of the decision makers in buying this guitar was that it was more expensive. So I had what's called a perceived value. And I think a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. Something's priced higher, she's like, well, it must be better. It must be far greater. And to be honest with you guys, this guitar is awesome. It is awesome. I will not take anything away from it. But the one that was $1,000 less, the LTD version, not really any difference, guys. There's just not. That one might have even played a little bit better. Where I went wrong is I was new at owning a 7-string guitar, and I didn't give my time really to get used to playing a 7-string guitar. So when I played the less expensive, and the less expensive guitar was not cheap by any means. The LTD MH1007 was still like $1,000, man, so, or $1,100, so it wasn't cheap. But I didn't give myself enough time to really get used to the guitar. I thought in my head, because this is one I initially saw, but I'm like, I don't want to pay $2,000 for a guitar, I just didn't want to do it. But my mind started playing with me a little bit. It's like, well, you're not comfortable with this, so you're going to like this one so much better. It's more expensive, it's made in Japan, and it's got more bells and whistles. Again, I love this guitar. It's not a bad guitar, but if I could take it back and do it over and not lose money, I would have just kept the MH1007. So to answer your question, it depends. And I think it does depend on the price range that you buy the guitar in. I think it does depend on some of that. I think the really good guitars are in the like $800 to probably $1,300 range in America. Now those prices are going to be different in other countries, I'm sure. But the guitar, like if you look up whatever country you're in, look up the LTD MH1007 and just see what it's priced at. And I think that range, give or take some, is where you really get a nice quality guitar. If you're buying guitars in like, the $300 and $400 range, usually you're just buying kind of cheap stuff. You know what I mean? So once you get up there into the $800-900 range and up to about $1,200 range, you're getting a pretty good quality guitar. Now, as far as brands go, I think brands are important to some extent. Like if you're playing metal, you can't go wrong with ESP LTD. You can't go wrong with Jackson. I mean, those are just really great guitars. Schecter, I've never played. I played Schecter one time, it was years ago, but I've never really like played it. But I know they make some guitars. Their Hellraiser, I think it's the C something Hellraiser by Schecter. That's in that same price range I was just talking about. I think it's like $900 or something like that. So those are good guitars. When you start getting over that into the $1,500 to the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 guitars, I don't. It's just me personally. I don't see the point in spending that much money on a guitar. I don't. I mean, again, this guitar is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But the specs on it, the way it plays, everything, it's the same. It's the same as the guitar I had initially that was $900 less. So I basically just said, hey, here's more money, take my money, and I got the same thing. Now, ESP would probably scream at me if they ever heard me say that, because every company wants their premium product to be premium. But again, that's just my opinion on that. Mehu, yeah, the coils are splittable. It's a three-way switch on that as far as the pickups on that guitar. You got two humbuckers and you got a three-way switch. Engine Floyd Road bridges are difficult to tune. Yes, they are. That's why my next guitar I buy, I might sell all my guitars and just get guitars with no Floyds, because they're just kind of, I don't know. I don't use my whammy bar that much anyway, and even as a lead guitar player, even as playing someone who plays a lot of solos, I just don't use it. You know what I mean? I just don't really care to use it. So I don't think I'll get something else with a Floyd. Yeah, no, you got two Hellraisers, C1 and C7. Yeah, dude. I want to play one of those guitars, so I think I would like it, man. I mean, Hellraiser just kind of sounds cool anyway, But guys, the acoustic is tuned up here. My coffee's cold. It's past noon anyway, which means it's beer time. Let's see if this is tuned. Alright. What I like to do is I'll bend my strings. And I'll just pull them kind of gently. I'll kind of pull them just a little bit. I don't want to pull too much, because I tend to break things. Yeah, I won't do that. Now let's tune it up. The good thing about the elixirs is they tend to stay in tune really, really well, man. Now I will tune this now, and then I'll walk away from it for a little bit, and then I'll come back later and tune it again. And usually after about the second or third time I do that, it's set. These things are super sensitive right now too. We're getting there, guys. That E was way out, man. All right. Alright, so I'll put this down for a little while. I'll come back to it in like an hour or whatever, and I'll play it again and bend the strings a little bit. And usually after that, maybe one more time doing that, it's ready to go. So, all right, let me answer the last round of questions here, guys. So, Liam, if I could have my own guitar brand, how would you call it, and what guitar models would you have? One thing I can tell you, I don't know what I'd call it. I might would just call it Stallworth guitars or something like that, or I don't know, who knows. But one thing I can tell you though, I probably wouldn't have a bunch of choices in models to choose from to start with anyway. One of the things I learned in today's marketing is a lot of people a lot of people don't really want so many choices. They just want something that works. You know what I mean? Now, I'd probably have a beginner's model and then a beginner to intermediate to one more advanced. You know what I mean? And meaning, the beginner model might be made a little bit cheaper, so it's affordable, and the other model. But I probably would not have any like prestigious, three, four, $5,000 model. That I wouldn't do. I like what Ola's done. Ola England, he's done good with the solar guitars, but I personally think he has too many models, and that's just my opinion. That's just my preference. What I find is when people have too many things to choose from, sometimes they won't choose anything because they're overwhelmed. And I just want to give a good quality guitar. Now, what that means is I would have to have a certain look. Is like this is the look of this guitar, and that's that. I would want to make it though. I would want to make it so that it's affordable for people. You know what I mean? So that's something I would really want to do that. But I don't know. I don't know what I would. I don't know what I would call it. Never really thought about it. Aaron, yeah, dude. After $1,200, dude, the gains in guitar experience flatten. In your opinion? Yeah, I absolutely agree, dude. I mean, once you get past a certain price point, you start to think, it's like, well, what makes this so much better? Was like the tree they got the wood from some enchanted forest that nobody knows about, that these little trolls live in. Like, what makes it so special? And it's marketing. Marketing is what makes it so special, because the company is telling you that the company is giving you this false perception of this greater value. You have to have this because it's made here, or it has this and that, which again, there's really my E2 Horizon, my $2,000 guitar, there is really no difference at all from the version that I had that was $900 less. So I'm totally with you, Aaron. I'm totally with you on that. Gene, you're looking for a 7 string, smallish hands, so very picky. Yeah, now I will say this, guys. One of the things, like, I love my ESP guitars, but if I could change anything about them, I would give them an Ibanez neck. Look how thin this neck is here, right? Now the fretboard's a little wider, so you've got that, but actually this guitar fits my hands perfectly. And I kind of have a feeling once I change the pickups out of here and get better pickups, which are on back order right now, I'll probably be playing this a lot more. And I've thought about getting an Ibanez 7 string for this reason, but look how thin that neck is though. And then you look how thick the ESP neck is here. And this neck's not super thick, but it is thicker than the other. And like, I couldn't play a Gibson. Gibson necks are like baseball bats, and there's some other guitars built like that too. That's not for me. But I tend to like that Ibanez thinner neck back there. That just, and again, it has to fit your hands. So I would have two different versions of that, because people have different hands. You may all want the same style and tone and sound, but I want to have different models for different people's hands, because we're all different. We're all built differently. Ancient Chinese song called Tuning. Yes, dude. The Schecter Omen Extreme 7. Yeah, I have never played that before. I haven't, like I said, I played a Schecter a long time ago, man, but I don't really remember much about it, because it was probably 20 plus years ago. The Schecter Blackjack, ATX, good guitars. Yeah, the Gibson, yeah, a flatter experience, Cryptic, yeah, for twice the price. And didn't Gibson, and I didn't really keep up with that. I know Glenn Fricker was really bashing them, and he probably rightfully so. He was calling them out, because I think they were selling these $3,000 and $4,000 guitars with like these really cheap parts in them, and people started catching on to that. It's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be a prestigious brand here, and you're giving me the cheap stuff. You're cutting corners. You can't cut corners in business. You can't do that. Yeah, that Ibanez. I love that Ibanez, man. I love the way it plays. God, every time I pick it up, I'm like, oh, I want a 7 string version of this, and I'm really tempted to get one. I'm not endorsed by ESP. A lot of people think I'm endorsed by ESP because I'm always playing ESP guitars. I'm always kind of tooting their horn for them. Um, but you know, and I've never reached out to ask for it. I've never reached out. I don't think that I'm a big enough name. I know I'm not. I'm not a big enough name to be for them to really endorse me. So I could be wrong about that, but you know, and maybe that changes in the future. I don't know. That would be great, but um, right now I'm free to play whatever I want. So yeah, I've truly thought about getting an Ibanez 7 string because I love those necks so much, man. So who knows? That might happen in the near future. You know what I mean? God, now I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna go online and look. I'm gonna probably type my Sweetwater at and say, "Hey, dude, can I play something?" And you know, because he works with me really well. I've got a good relationship with him. Anyway, the Kirk Hammett ESP, dude. Gene, you've got a ton of guitars, I know, dude. The Kirk Hammett ESP. I bet that would be awesome. I love Kirk Hammett, man. He is one of my favorite guitarists. I think sometimes too, even beyond someone's ability to play certain things on guitar, there is an element of that person that goes into it that gives us that bias for or against them. And what I mean by that, take Kirk Hammett, for example, and then take Yngwie Malmsteen, for example. Now, Yngwie Malmsteen can play faster, you know, solos and better sweep arpeggios than Kirk Hammett could probably dream of playing. And that's not really his style anyway. But I actually admire Kirk Hammett's playing more than Yngwie Malmsteen. And I do like Kirk's style better, and I think he's truly just a better guitar player for that reason because he can write better solos more that captivate me more so. But I think a big part of that of me thinking that way is because Kirk Hammett is just such a cool person, and I've heard other things from Yngwie Malmsteen where he's actually made fun of other guitar players and bashed other guitar players, and he thinks he's this god. And when someone has that mentality about themselves, it's like, okay, you're not as good as you think you are. You're great and all that, and you so what? But then you start like picking out little flaws. I'm like, okay, well, all your solos sound the same, dude. And I know they're not the same, but it's like everything just runs together. And that's that cognitive bias that you get based on someone's ability to play, but also their personality and how they come across. So it's a big thing whenever a musician is conceited or egotistical, naturally people are going to start pointing out their flaws. You know what I mean? Whereas if you have a musician that's still great in their own right, but they're also just a cool person, they're very giving and they're just very good to their fans, you know, that sort of person, then your bias kicks in. You're like, you know what? They're better in my opinion. You know, so it's weird how that works. It's weird how our mind works, but I don't know. I don't know if that made any sense or if I'm just blabbing and rambling at this point. You know. Uh, so Aaron, sometimes getting sometimes Aaron brings up a good point, guys. Sometimes getting a used guitar that was originally $900 to $1,300 has super value because people just want to move on from them and sell them for a great price. You're absolutely right. So on Aaron's point there, if you're on a budget, then look for those $900 to $1,300 guitars, but look for them used. You can probably get them for a lot less. For example, and I'm going to show you this now. An awesome example is, I didn't feel like getting up and getting this earlier, but this is my LTD M1000 Deluxe ESP guitar. So this guitar, now I know they still make this model today, and I think it's like $1,100 today. I think back in the day it was about $1,000, something like that. I bought this guitar used in 2000, probably 9 or 2010. I bought this guitar used for $600. So I got an $1,100 guitar used in perfect condition for $600. This has been on every album I've recorded to date. Even my first heavy metal workout album, which I primarily use my Ibanez on, I still use this for some of the solos. And my last album I recorded primarily, Masterpiece was primarily on my 7 string, my ESP 7 string. But there was a couple solos that I had, before I started recording the album, I had some demos of the songs, and I had actually recorded some of the solos with this guitar. I just left them. For one, they sounded good with this guitar. It sounded better actually. And for two, there were those solos and I'm like, I don't know if I can replicate this again, so I better leave it. I better just leave it alone. It sounds good. Sometimes, have you ever played a solo and then you're like, I don't know if I can play my own solo. I mean, you can hear it and practice it or whatever, but I'm like, man, I still to this day, I'm like, I can't replicate it live. You know, it's weird. It's so weird. Uh, yeah, Atari's the shirt, dude. I didn't play much Atari. I mean, I did, but when we were kids, when we were little kids, this was, you know, prominent. Atari, and they had another video game station called Odyssey 2. And it was like the ball was a square and stick people or whatever, but kind of the same premises. You know, it didn't last very long because Atari was, you know, was taken over. But during my teens, though, my early teens, Nintendo was the dominating system, and I'll never forget when that thing came out. Uh, and of course, I love Super Mario Brothers. Talking about video games now. I don't play video games today. I don't have time. I'm constantly doing music and writing, blogging for my fitness site that I shared with you guys earlier. By the way, guys, I'll share something else with you real quick here. Let me pull this up. I think that some of you have this already. I sent you the link to my albums and all that, but there's something else that some of you have this, some do not. I published a book many years ago. Well, not many years ago, 2017. I just put the link out there. It's on Amazon. If you have the Kindle Reader, you read it for free, or you know you can buy the Kindle version. It's cheap. Or a lot of people. I like paperback books. It's just me. I like to sit down on my patio and actually read a paperback book. So I have those available as well. But that's my book called Heavy Metal and Weights. And I kind of go through the story of how I started playing guitar and lifting weights around the same time, and how much that just changed life. I also talk about in detail the recording of the Heavy Metal Workout album series that I did, and then I throw in some workout plans in that book as well. It's kind of all over the place, but I don't know. It's just a good, simple read. You know, if you guys want to pick that up, that's cool. That helps support me as well, so I appreciate it. But yeah, that's I was gonna go back to the guitars real quick. Definitely find a used guitar. There's not much point in getting a brand new guitar. I mean, unless you just want it to be brand new. I mean, but again, you can get, as long as it's in good condition, but you can buy a used guitar, save about $500, and then just go pay a guitar tech $100 or whatever to properly set it up and clean everything out, and then it's good as new. So you still save $400. You know, you can save a lot of money that way, and I'm all about that these days. So, well, guys, we've been going for over an hour here, and it's past noon, so that means it's time to eat, and I'm gonna crack open a craft beer. So, thank you guys so much for joining. Thanks for helping me change my strings on my acoustic. It's always a, you know, kind of a task there, but it's a lot more fun with you guys. Again, check out my website, check out my links. You know, I've provided some links there for you on here, so be sure to check those out. One more time, I'm going to send you over to my main website where you can hear my music and stream it and all that good stuff, so that's on there as well. So guys, again, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Be safe out there. I know the world's kind of still in a crazy spot, but I think things are starting to calm down a little bit. But hey, be safe out there. Real quick, please give this video a thumbs up. It just helps the YouTube algorithm, you know, or whatever, which is constantly changing. But I've got several likes on here already, so thank you for that. Guys, I will see you soon. If you have not, one last note, if you have not watched my last video, go on my channel real quick here and then look for, I did a motivational video yesterday, so that's a good one to watch too. It's a really good one to watch. I talk about the 5-second rule, and I integrate that in with the tiny lizard brain. It was a very interesting conversation, so check that out. But then the video I released before that was my lyric video for a song off my latest album, Masterpiece, called Never Enough. So check out those two videos. You know, listen to those. Those are good. Leave me a comment, give that a thumbs up. That will help me out a lot. But I think you'll enjoy those videos as well, more importantly. Guys, thank you so much. Keep it metal. I will talk to you guys very, very soon.